Put down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, friends and family around the world, investors to be, we're on our very first podcast. Man, I'm truly excited to interview someone that has brought wealth in my life, not only as a friend at Cashflow 101 parties, but great investments, and he's a jack of all skills at a very young age. Today we're going to be interviewing Luke Ward about money, about how to borrow money, where does he get his money, how does he do it, him as an investor in general. So no further drama for me. Let's talk to Luke Ward. Hello, Luke.
Hey, Steven. How's it going?
All right, bud. So let's talk about how'd you get in real estate. First, I ask, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25 and a little baby. I'm 41.
Nothing wrong with that.
All right. So give me some background. How'd you get in real estate? Where are you from? What inspires you? Just whatever. How'd you get in real estate?
Well, my parents are millionaires, so they just gave me a trust fund.
Wonderful.
I'm kidding. I was 19 years old, sitting on a couch in college, probably 2 a.m, and I saw an infomercial. I'm not kidding you. That's okay. Exactly how it was.
All right. What infomercial?
It was Dean Graziosi.
Okay. Have you seen him live?
I have not. I've always kind of wanted to, just because he, for lack of better words, was my real estate inspiration. But I was going on a trip to Mexico the next day, and I went to the bookstore before he left, and I read 2 of his books on the plane to and from.
Wow. And that was it. Did you order the course? Did you say you ordered a course?
I did. I wouldn't say it was entirely beneficial to me at the time, but that was because I was too young and stupid to take advantage of what was in front of me.
Well, the goal is that you pulled the trigger. All right. So how long ago was that? What year was that?
I was either 19 or 20.
So about 5
probably
years ago?
4 or 5 years ago, yeah.
Okay. And you're from Oklahoma City.
Mm-hmm.
Did you drop out of college?
I did not.
You graduated?
Yeah, I graduated 2 or 3 years ago.
Savvy.
And then I was working on my master's as well, but decided that I liked working for myself instead.
Okay, so you graduated college. Have you gotten a real job? Well,
my goal is to not do that, so no, I have not.
So you got a degree. Your parents helped you go through college, and then you take a course, and then you're in real estate. Okay, let's just get it out. You are a realtor, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I'm not a big fan of realtors, no offense. But you're the most unique realtor because you are a practicing investor, day by day, grinding it out. What made you decide to be a realtor?
To be honest, some of the courses I took in college satisfied the requirement to take the test. And at the time I thought, why not? Okay. And I wanted to have access to pull my own comparables and things like that off the MLS.
Cool. So your main thrust to decide to be a realtor was through college, so you can get college courses or credit?
No, it was actually I minored in real estate in college. Cool. And at UCO, and so because I had taken a couple of courses there, it was something I was able to do, and I thought.
Okay, so you minored in real estate, or
yes.
Okay. Again, this is all from an infomercial, or did you at a younger
actually,
age?
To be honest, I don't remember. Because I was originally a computer science major.
That was me too.
And then I realized I love computers, but I don't want to code. So I don't know if my mindset just changed into, well, how am I going to make money? And finance interested me. Those books interested me. And then UCO happens to offer a minor in real estate. So I got a finance degree with a minor in real estate. And the the real estate chair there is a licensed broker and everything, and does his own investments, and he was quite helpful and inspirational too to just take the test.
Okay, awesome. That's incredible. I didn't know that. I'm learning. So you got this course. You're hitting the pavement. How did it go down? Like you were looking for houses all the time?
Yeah, actually, I was looking for houses all the time. I wanted to start wholesaling because that's kind of what Dean Graziosi had written about and suggested, and I sucked at it. For lack of better terms, I failed miserably multiple times before I finally had a successful wholesale deal. But for some reason, I just knew it would work if I just stayed at it.
Okay, let's go into your first deal.
It was a burnout on the southeast side of Oklahoma City.
Dang.
And
That's not easy to flip.
no, the guy came in. I don't remember what he was exactly asking, maybe $35,000. And my friend and I negotiated him down to $30,000, and we signed it up. And unfortunately, we put $500 earnest money down, things like that. And the first person we called was a large home buyer in this area.
Okay. Not me.
It was not you.
Okay.
Anyway, when I say burnout, it wasn't that bad of a burnout either.
Okay. So
but
like a $10,000 repair, $5,000?
something like that.
Okay, cool.
Anyways, he came in and offered us $31,000, and we had some other connections through some other realtors or something that they said no, we can get it sold for more than that, and we kind of put it in their hands, and nothing ever became of it. So our biggest mistake there was just kind of letting other people do it and not being ambitious enough to just get on the phone and start calling people.
Okay. So did you sell it to him for $31,000?
No, he ended up saying that was only good for 24 hours, backed out. Knowing what I know now about that particular buyer, I definitely could have sold it for a lot more.
And faster.
Probably.
Did he drag his feet?
No, not at all. He came out that day. He was pretty nice and genuine. It was just knowing what I know now, I probably could have sold that for a lot more than that, but that's okay.
That's right. So what'd you sell it for?
Didn't.
Oh, you didn't?
No. In fact, I noticed months later that he ended up selling it for $22,000 to someone else. So clearly, my negotiating skills were not up to par.
So it's okay. So $500, college degree.
Yeah,
Right.
pretty much.
You didn't get your earnest money back. Okay.
I think we negotiated to split it back, so we got $250 or something. But yeah, I mean, it was a learning lesson. It was fine.
Great. I don't know. I've lost way more than $250 and learned a lot.
As have I.
All right. So let's talk about your first deal get financed. How? I mean, I know you're using private money kind of right now.
Somewhat, yes.
Okay. Well, how many units do you have?
13 right now. 14 by the end of next week.
You are killing it within 4 years. Fantastic. Okay. So money just doesn't fall through the sky. Tell me how you're financing these things, or just throw out how are you getting money?
Well, I guess I could start with my first rental, which I wasn't sure I wanted to be a rental. I thought about flipping it.
Okay.
I got a hard money, high interest rate loan that my parents had helped me put the interest up for.
Cool.
And
so break it down. So was it like a hard money lender? Local
it was.
lender?
It was a hard money lender locally, and I believe it was at 14 or 15%. We had to put $4,000 or $5,000 down for interest, but of course, you get what you don't use back. So
your parents were down with that. They're like, you're in real estate. You went to college.
Actually, they weren't too okay with that, but it was because I kept telling them before this, I'm going to make money in real estate. I'm going to make money in real estate, and they never saw it. And then on this one, finally, I got it under contract for $27,800, and the appraisal came in at $66,000 or something.
Great.
And
so that's 50%.
Yeah. So my dad said, I think what they kind of thought was, okay, well, we'll feed him on this one. He'll get it out of his system, and then that'll be it. And I was very thankful that they helped me. They put up the money on the interest, and of course I paid every cent back because I was thinking about flipping it, but I ended up refinancing with my current lenders, paid my parents back. Okay. And by the time we were refinancing, or I was refinancing, my dad was, are you ready to do another one?
That's awesome. So your dad actually loaned you the money for your first deal. Okay, your family. Okay. And so now 5 years later or whatever, how long ago was that? A couple of years? 3 years?
That was the end of 2012.
Sweet. Okay, so now just weird question. What do your parents think of you now? I mean, you're like full on.
Well, actually, I was talking to someone that I know that knows my parents at a title company the other day, and my mom said apparently they ran into each other at the grocery store, and she said, well, I wasn't too keen on him going out on his own and trying to do all this, but I mean, I guess I can't really say anything. He's making good money and
that's awesome,
making a living, and it seems to be successful. So what can I say?
That's so cool. Okay, so have you had any? Okay, you got that. So the second one, how did you get the second deal? You found the deal with your normal wholesaling skills. We'll talk about wholesaling on another day. We're talking about money today. So you found another deal somehow, right?
Yes.
Through all your sources of getting deals. How'd you finance that one?
That one was through the people I had refinanced away with from my hard money one. Which
Okay, so-
I found that, at least in this instance, it was a lot easier to refinance because I own the home. I would have never gotten that original loan out of the hard money had I not.
Okay, so the
Owned it.
steps are you went and got a hard money loan to acquire the asset, to get the rental property, and then you held on to it for a certain length of time. How long did you hold on to it?
I think it was only 2 to 3 months because with my lender, there's not very many seasoning requirements.
Okay. So then from there, you had to refinance it. So did your parents just give you the interest to get the loan?
Yes, they just gave me the interest.
Okay,
for
how
the
much
hard
was
money.
that? So $30,000 loan.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like 2,500 to
So you
$3,000.
literally had no money. So you were
Yeah, I
broker
literally
than
put
broke.
none of my own money in.
Okay.
And they did that, and of course, when I refinanced out, I paid them back all the interest.
25 plus whatever interest on there, 2,500.
Yes,
So they made like $500.
I believe that's what it was.
Cool. All right, so you got that deal done. So then the company. So this was another place. So you had hard money, and then you had to refinance it with another company.
Yeah.
Who was this other company? I mean, you don't have to tell me the name, but is it like a private institution? Is this a private money still?
Well, it is. It's similar to private money, but they operate somewhat like a community bank around here. They just they take IRAs and 401ks for doctors' offices or dentist offices or just a group of people. They're basically financial planners and financial managers. And a few years ago, they decided to start turning them into real estate loans.
That's awesome. So it's not a bank. It's not an individual. It's a group of investors of sorts that are investing in paper,
Yes.
per se. And so tell me the process. How do you get a loan there?
Actually, it seems really simple, and I don't even know why they keep giving me money, but they do.
Well, you're you're
usually-
only 25. You have a long time to pay it back.
I literally send an email or a text message to my my rep there, and I say, "Hey Jeff, can you send Kelly out to do an appraisal on this?" And then I sent him an email, follow-up email with the repairs that I think are going to be made, things like that, what my plans are with it. And then next thing you know, I'm BCC'd on an email to the appraiser, and it gives the instructions to go appraise. Usually that's done within a day or two, and they can close within 7 to 10 days,
Wow.
up to 70%.
70% of value of what the appraisal came through. It's a drive-by appraisal. Okay, and then what happens there? Is there fees? What's the interest rate?
My interest rate is anywhere from, I've got one at 8.5%.
Okay.
Up to 11.5%, I believe, because they didn't like the deal as much.
But they're still willing to loan.
But they're
on it.
still willing to loan on it, and it's amortized over 30 years. So I find it to be somewhat comparable to acquisition money that you would get at another community bank around here, because most of those community banks amortize over 15 years.
Right. Well, now you can cash flow for a long time, save up, for 6-8 months, a year, 2 years. Is it locked for a certain length of time?
Yes. Well, they're 10-year loans amortized over 30.
So they're
but
locked for 10.
They are locked for 10. But they also have prepayment penalties, but it's kind of negligible. It's 2 to 3 months worth of payments. So if you, I'm starting to get to the point now where I think that I don't want to use the term legitimate, but banks,
Established investors.
financial institutions are going to start looking at me and be willing to lend me the money
So
to refinance.
basically, when you started out, you were young, you couldn't get any money. Your parents kind of had to co-sign, but they didn't. They just threw in some interest. You had to go to a hard money place to get money. Now you're actually kind of going after banks, and you have, 14 units? You said
Yes.
13?
13 right now. Yeah.
13 today, and then you're going to close at the end of the month with 14. I would say you're a player. I mean, I think after 5, I think most banks should take you serious. I think 10 puts you in a whole other arena, but that's just my personal, idea of that. So this is amazing. So this is some institution that's out there. It's not a real FDIC. It's not a bank. It's a group of investors, and they have checks and balances to go out and loan you money. So it's similar to the process that I have at the bank that I use. Have you ever discussed lending limits? I know it's like a kid in a candy store. You're just like, man, I can fund anything. Have they ever said no to you?
Yes, and I will say this, because they are not they're not necessarily regulated by the government like banks are and things like that, and it's private technically it is private individuals making this decision.
True.
They don't have to lend in certain areas. They can pick and choose.
So you've come across property in a certain area that they were like, no, I don't want to.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
So it's kind of, they're kind of judgmental in that way, I guess. But at the same time, who am I to?
It's their money.
Yeah, it's their money. So,
well, that's another discussion. So, okay, let's continue on. So, how many loans do you have with them?
10.
10. Okay, and then is there a cutoff? Have they ever said, hey, young 25-year-old whippersnapper, we're only going to loan you a number?
No, actually, they haven't at all. In fact, I believe when I was at 4 or 5 units, all of a sudden I had 2 or 3 properties under contract at once, and I thought, oh man,
I'm not going to close
Yeah,
this.
there's no way I'm going to get financing for all this because they're going to be like, oh, slow down here. And all of a sudden I sent a message and said, hey, are you okay with doing 2 or 3 at once? He said, oh yeah, whatever.
That's awesome.
I was taken aback, like, okay.
No, I've asked you for this company's name. I don't think we should discuss it over the airwaves, but you don't want everyone to know about it? Right?
I have no problem sharing it.
Okay,
I mean,
cool.
these people have helped me tremendously, so if I can help them, manage that.
Well, you want to say it right now then? Who
it's
they are?
Access Financial Resources.
In Oklahoma City?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Access Financial Resources. All right, tell me about, is there a type of pre-qualification? Tell me, how'd you find them? How'd you find this company?
Actually, through the hard money lender on the original one. He had some contacts.
Okay, who is your hard money lender?
That was Great Plains.
Great Plains Financial?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 14% interest.
I believe it's 15 at the time. It might be 14 now.
Tons of fees on the front end.
Yeah, but they're, quote, willing to roll it into the loan.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, so, all right, hard money. What fees with Access Financial do you have?
I've got...
Origination fee?
No.
Okay.
I actually was looking over my HUD the other day because I'd never calculated exactly how much it costs to get into one of these, and it's $625.
That was your total closing cost, or just
yeah? They've got
fees,
a
doc fee,
the appraisal fee, and then their document fees.
So $600 to acquire an asset at 70%, no money down.
I have rarely put money down in the last year and a half. It's only been because I chose to.
Totally. Have you gotten cash at closing?
Yes.
Okay, for fix-up money?
Yes. However, they like to do theirs in draws. So you don't get all of it up front.
Sure.
Unless it's a small amount.
No, like $1,000, $10,000.
Yeah, I've walked away with, $4,000 at closing before, but if it were 15, they would split that into 2 different draws. And then come inspect the work.
Okay. Well, this is all rosy. Okay, let's talk about, have you been turned down from a loan? Have you been blocked? Tell me some negativity about another institution. So Access Financial is like a private institution. So investors out there, if you have not said you can't get loans from banks, like, look into private money, even little small private lending institutions like Access Financial. All right, let's talk about some things that's been tough for you about trying to finance a deal, and you went to a bank, or have you gone to a bank yet?
I have, and not to go off topic, but I would just like to point out that people that are looking for financing, you're not going to get what you don't ask for.
Ooh,
so
good.
Can't be afraid to do it.
I think that's even the Bible. I don't know. All right, keep going. All right, so let's talk about some roadblocks that you've had. I mean, you've had great success. You've flipped. How many transactions have you done? Have you?
Somewhere between 50 and 75. I know that's a wide range, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
And that's through
wholesaling, realtor,
all the whole jazz,
buy and hold. And
okay.
I have fixed and flipped one property, and I'm about to take on 2 this month as well.
Full time.
Yeah, and I'm also financing those 2 flips with my current lenders.
Okay, you got the loans for them to flip them.
Mm-hmm.
Great. So they're open to fix and flips. They're open to long-term, 10-year lock, but it's a little bit higher interest, but it's almost free money. So you just got to weigh the options, and that's what your job is. Okay.
Yeah, I consider it acquisition money.
Yeah, I mean, I have a similar process that's just different. Some people think, man, I can't believe you're paying 6% interest, but this bank understands it's a drive-by appraisal, 75% LTV. If I buy it right, it's usually I'm not having a problem or putting any money in. All right, so give you some advice. All right, let's go into some things that you didn't get a loan and why. Like what? You're courting some banks now, right? You got 14 units. You just want to expand and go bigger, cut some of your costs down, have more long term, because this Access Financial is more of a short term acquisition, acquiring the asset, and then trying to put it on long term permanent financing. Okay, I just assumed that, but Luke is savvy. Tell me about Where it went wrong with banks? Why wouldn't they loan you money before? Have you figured it out? Or are you still dealing with it?
I will tell you one of the biggest things that I didn't do is I didn't save enough cash reserves up when I first got started, and that's mainly due to the fact that I was probably because I was trying to do it without getting a real job.
Yeah, just
So
starting out.
I was living off my cash flow, and I know that we're here to talk about financing, but I didn't start to take my wholesaling and realtor seriously until about a year ago.
Okay.
And it's amazing when all of a sudden you decide, well, I guess I need to be consistent, and what things happen
keep
within
track.
a year. Yeah, keep track, and all of a sudden here's what happens within a year. Now I'm in a much better financial situation.
Okay, so before you applied for a loan and they said, okay, I forgot, Access Financial. How do you apply?
That originally, I had to send them all my financial statements,
Taxes.
taxes, and
No,
everything.
you didn't have
else.
any income. You were a student.
I didn't, and I should add that. I was working, but it was just a customer service job that wasn't paying much. I should mention that my parents had to co-sign on the first few,
Okay.
so
and
they were guarantors.
Guarantors, okay.
But
then they're no longer there.
yeah,
now,
working
right?
away from that.
Are they still? Do they have to sign every time now?
No.
Okay. And so, are they basing it on your portfolio that you have? Some of the loans, are they cross collateralizing it, or they're asking for your financial statement?
Not anymore. No, they have not asked for it since the first day.
And that was a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Wow. So you just built a track record with them. Now that's not how it is with banks.
It is not. So that's yes. It's just I guess they.
So why would you go
I pay
anywhere
my
else?
bills on time, so they just.
Oh yeah, totally. They pull your credit. All right. Tell me what happened where you got said no to. Tell me about that. Where were you? You can tell about the bank. It doesn't matter. I don't care.
I just, the first time it happened, I wanted to buy a fourplex, and I also wanted to refinance a couple of mine. And they told me no, based on the fact that it wasn't a credit issue or anything. I just didn't. I think I just didn't have enough cash in the bank. They wanted to see more reserves, and
you had
they
how
wanted to
many
see a
units
little
did you
more
have at that
stability.
time?
I think I had 7 at the time.
So you had 7 properties. You're going to refinance some of those 7. A duplex? Or no, you were trying to buy a fourplex.
Yes, and I was also wanting to look at refinancing, and I've also.
How long ago was this that you got denied? So you're getting money, you're buying houses, but a higher interest rate, and so you're like, hey, I need to tone down some of these expenses. I want it on long term. So you've been courting some banks, and they said no. And what was the reason? What'd they say? You have 7 properties.
It was because I didn't have enough
Cash in the bank.
I didn't have enough cash in the bank, and also because, as you know, in order to get certain things, you have to file 2 years in a row of self-employment,
Tax.
I believe,
Yeah.
for taxes,
Schedule
and
something, yeah.
I had not done that yet at the
Okay.
time.
So you didn't have the current tax documents that they were looking for.
and I was also trying to get away from using my parents. So I was
Sure.
willing to. I didn't want to throw my parents in there and say, okay, well, because I was tired of using that as a crutch.
I agree, and you will. You won't need them much longer, man. I think you're done. I think you're about to explode. So it's exciting. So tell me what's your goals now? What are you trying to do now? Are you trying to go after other banks? How long ago was that you got denied from?
Oh, that was probably a year and a half.
So you're pretty much ready right now.
Yeah, I've been filling out my financial statements the last couple days actually because I'm ready to try something new.
Okay, so I mean, try to answer this if you like, but how much debt are you in debt? Have you figured
Debt?
it out? Like you have, $500,000.
I could add it up. It's probably 450 to 600,000.
Okay, now when you talk to other, so you got, let's just say for kicks and giggles, you got $500,000 in debt. When you talk to other friends, young 25-year-olds, and they're like, okay, you're in real estate, you have $500,000. How do they respond? I mean, some people can't even be $5,000 in debt. They think they're gonna die and burn. I have several $1 million in debt, and I go to the bathroom just fine. So
Yeah.
so how do you
it's
handle
never
that
me.
logic? I mean, is it business logic for
Well,
you?
it's business logic because I also, you can sit there and think, oh, I've got this debt, but when my properties are worth a lot more, it actually turns into net worth instead of just debt. I mean,
Right, so
there's liabilities, but there's assets tied to those.
Okay, and there's a ratio, right? Do you know what your ratio is of your income to debt ratio?
Not off the top of my head, I don't.
Okay. All right.
That's something I should know, though, off the top of my head.
You probably should. Don't worry. I'm not going to beat you up. This is our first podcast, so I
Lesson learned. Let me mark that down real quickly.
You need to know exactly what your LTV, what your ratio is. It's just some banks, they like to, years ago when the crash, it was like 80%. People were, investors were over leveraged at 80%. The sweet spot, some think it's 60, big banks that are at $1 billion of assets, they'll loan people at 60% of their overall portfolio. I like to be at 50%. I have children, but you can be a lot more aggressive since you just started out.
And I will note, I've got it in a spreadsheet at home. I just...
No, I don't think, I just, off the top of your head, you weren't prepared. I didn't put that on your question.
But I should be.
All right. Yeah, that's fine. All right. We can still, of course, this is about finance, but any mistakes that you've made, except for that very first one you did, which kept you going, anything else, a mistake that you've learned from?
Trusting contractors.
Okay. So tell me about that.
I paid half up front to a son and father team, and the father decided to take a job in St. Louis and basically just left. And then so I was left with the son, who couldn't work quickly enough to stay on target. I had no more money to give him. And I, of course, wasn't going to give him the rest till the job was done. So we were struggling, put us probably months behind on a
project,
a rehab that should have taken a month or two, and it took us 4 or 5. And that was only because I started being more consistent with my wholesaling and I made money. I decided to fire that contractor and just say, hey, we need to split our differences. He was also drugs and things like that. Sure. So there's issues there that I was too trusting and had to end up just pulling some money out of pocket and finishing the job.
Yeah. Welcome to my world. Yep. That happens on a regular basis. What advice, we'll get back to the banking, what advice would you give? You got the course online, or when you didn't even get the course, you read a few books, you're involved with real estate clubs and definitely a lot of investors. You do a lot of prospecting and marketing. What advice would you give someone that's never, hasn't done anything yet, has never even thought about it? What advice what would you do differently, or what can you encourage that new investor to do?
Get an education to a point.
Okay.
I mean, you should always be learning. Everybody should be learning every day, but if you're not doing anything with that education, then it's futile. So get out there, go to meetings, go to the Savvy Landlord Lunch, get to know some people, and get out there and start making things happen.
All right. So how about banking? Would you have got your financials in order first and went, my way was I went owner finance first because I didn't have a job. I was self-employed, and back then it was real hard. And then, I was like, only way I can buy real estate. I know I need to buy real estate. I didn't, rich dad, poor dad, blah, blah, blah. And so I did owner finance for 7 years or whatever. And then I finally went to loans, and I've never been back. You took a different approach. You went hard money first, which is a step, which is, I haven't done that. And then you went into private money / and now you're going into banking. I know you haven't gotten a regular bank loan yet, but what's that? Is that the right way to doing it for you? Would you go back and change it up a little bit? Would you have gotten your financials done quicker? What would you have done differently?
I don't think I would have done it any differently because, I didn't have many choices and routes to take.
Okay, that was your only option.
Yes, at least I felt that way at the time. So I wouldn't have. The only other thing I would have done is I would have tried to save as much cash as possible, so that I could, I would be in a better position a year ago instead of today. So
you're saying this cash thing has come up several times. So is there a number in the bank that they wanted you to have, like a certain ratio? Like, you got 10 units, you need $1,000 a unit, you need $10,000?
I was told $2,500 to $3,000 per unit.
In the bank. Reserves. So for kicks, again, 10 units, you'd have to have $30,000 of liquid cash in the bank?
Yes, and that also probably depends on, clearly, a number of things, your net worth and things like that. And I don't have a W-2 income, so they kind of look at me as, I do have my rentals, but water heater breaks, what are you going to do?
Sure. So you were hustling. You're out trying to buy as many houses as you can, and you have no money in the bank, and you continue to keep pushing through.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, I don't know why I get money, but I'm glad I am. So.
Right. It's so funny because I used to be just like that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I just think the same thing. Like, I would starve and go buy a house and not think about the money. And I agree. There's a specific bank, I know who you're talking about, that has, he brought this up the other day at lunch. He's like, we would like for you to have $100,000 liquid cash. I'm like, that's dumb. $100,000, I can go buy a house. That what Luke just got me today, I'm all giddy, a great deal. It's hard for me to have liquid cash because I want to keep money moving and I want money coming in, because if $100,000 sit in the bank, it does nothing. Mm-hmm. So, all right. What does the future hold? What is there a financial goal, a monthly goal, a unit goal? So many people have so many different goals. Like, you're 25. You're already kind of semi-retired. I mean, you could, off of your cash flow, hopefully, if something's wrong, if you're not doing it right. What's your
theoretically
goals?
I could, but okay. I by no means want to do that at all.
True. It's so much fun.
But I am struggling right now with lifestyle design versus working constantly. I think the biggest thing I have is I have a strong passion for it. So I love driving for dollars, or I love one thing I've been big on lately is just cold calls and calling people and say, "Hey, you want to sell your house?" I mean,
has it worked?
Absolutely.
Wow. So even in like really
and don't get me wrong, I'm not calling people that take care of their yards and have new roofs. I see a dilapidated house and I try and find information on that person and just call them.
Okay. So what does the future hold? Is there a certain number, or are you just going to keep going and see where it goes?
I don't have a specific number, but I look at things downtown, and I would really like to get involved in urban renewal and multifamily investments.
So can you see yourself with a skyscraper?
That would be fantastic.
Or a multi-100 unit.
That would be very cool.
Swank.
Like A-class office property.
Yeah, totally.
That'd be very fun. And right now I'm kind of trying to figure out how many single families and duplexes, what have you, do I need to get to where I can grab someone's attention that maybe I can say, hey, I don't have any experience in this field, but I've got money to invest. Let's do something together. And then I start building a track record in that sense.
Well, I think the same principle applies. You just get your education. I was talking to my mentor yesterday, and when I met him, he had a little office. It was a house on 50th and Classen. And now I'm like, where's your office now? Downtown Hudson, A-class property. And he's like, yeah, I own the building. So, I mean, it's pretty gnarly to be that.
Sounds pretty rough.
Yeah, coming from nothing to that. Anyway, what other things? Anything else you want to say?
Not off the top of my head. I just feel really unprepared.
All right.
I apologize.
Okay. Any tips or tricks in borrowing and money? Like, has you found something that has worked for you?
Constantly updating my financial statements is something that I have not done that I'm going to start doing either bi-weekly or monthly. Just have it prepared at all times. You never know who you're going to run into. And today I was asked my debt to income ratio and I didn't have an answer for it. But what if you were a banker?
Yeah. You need to exactly. Okay. How about, have you ever thought about just individual private money? Has anyone ever approached you and said, man, you're successful, 14 units, I want to invest in you? Has anybody ever approached you about
I've had some people, or more or less, maybe let's partner on a few deals, or you bring the deal and we'll, partner and fix and flip. But since I'm not huge into fix and flipping, at least yet, I wouldn't feel comfortable taking a single individual's money that's not, I just wouldn't feel comfortable necessarily doing that because I don't have a strong enough track record yet. Whereas, and I also don't want to include other people sometimes in my investments because I'm more long-term buy and hold. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense for me to be splitting 50% of cash flow with someone.
No reason. All right. Well, that's it. That's our very first podcast about finance and the young and vibrant. One other last question to end this deal, Luke, that I thought earlier. What gets you so passionate or motivated? What time do you go to bed?
Oh, midnight to 1.
Okay, and what time do you get up?
I try to get up at 7:30.
Okay,
go to the gym.
All right, now you have no job, no place to go. You walk me through a day. Like, you wake up, you look at your phone, and
first thing I do is probably go through my emails, Half of it's spam, but I like to think I'm important. So when I've got about 15 emails, I think I'm cool.
Okay.
And then go to the gym. Usually do phone calls on the way to the gym. If I have to take phone calls while I'm there, that's great too. And then posting ads on Craigslist, following up with my leasing agent, and just really, appointments throughout the day, going and viewing houses or clerical tasks because I'm the only one here.
Yeah,
so
you're solo machine.
That's something I'm struggling with right now is if I don't do it, nobody is. So I've got to figure out how to systematize my business a little bit so that I can have more free time to raise money and find deals versus filling out a lease application.
Yeah. All right. So what motivates you? What gets you going? Is it what is it? I don't want to say it's.
Well, actually, I wrote my why on a board not too long ago, and I hadn't looked at it in a while. But then I looked at it probably 3 or 4 days ago, and I thought, wow, it's still the same.
Cool.
I want to make enough money and live my life in a way that makes me or makes others as happy as I am every single day. And I would like to, if that means taking my friends on trips or things like that. I just want to have the financial freedom to where there's always going to be stress in life.
Sure.
But if you're not worrying about that aspect of it, it really helps.
That's awesome. All right. What else was I going to say? I think that's it, man. You're a rock star. I'm so excited to bring you back on the show because you'll be my first one. I got to bring you back, the original. And then in a few months, 6 months, a year, we'll see how many units you have and where you're at. Oh, yeah, this was the last question I was going to ask. Okay, so you've never
Are you
had
sure? Because the last one was the last question.
I know. Hey, and I know we got like 4 more minutes because we've got to keep it in 40 minutes. So you've never worked a real job, right? You graduated, you have an undergrad.
Other than, customer service at the ice rink.
Yeah, but that not a career.
I've never had an entry-level career job.
Have you ever thought about that you'll never go get a job, that you'll never work for anyone else? Has that ever crossed your mind, and what does that mean to you?
Absolutely. I think about it all the time, and I think, wow, I don't even know how I would do that now, because...
Someone telling you what to do.
Yeah, there's someone telling me what to do, and I really don't know. I would just think, why am I doing this to make you wealthy? And I have, friends that are going to interviews and things like this and, looking for jobs, and I have no advice to give. It's beyond me. So I just kind of sit there and listen to their struggles, and I think I wish I could give you an advice on, an interviewer is going to ask this. Well, here's what you should say in that instance. I have no idea because I would probably bomb an interview.
Well, yeah, you thought about you were going to be a computer science guy. You didn't want to code, but you love computers, maybe IT or, and like you may never be in that field. You may just
I'd be perfectly okay with that.
Yeah, totally. You're young
or if I wanted to be in that field, I would like the opportunity to do it at my leisure.
Yeah, I hope your parents could listen to this and they would be proud of you because, you're not following what the world says. Do this, go to job, get a degree, make $50,000 a year, buy a dream home, and be in debt and go nowhere. Now you can travel the world, do whatever you want to do, save as much as you can. You're making income right now, sitting right here in this office. And I don't know, man. If you were my son, I'd be proud of you. I think your parents should be. And you're going to be successful. It's only 25 years old. Luke Ward. It's 11 o'clock on May 20th, 2015. We've got to come back and revisit Luke to see his success. Is it cool to give out your phone number, your email? How about just your email? Maybe you can inspire someone, encourage them once you give out your email.
Absolutely. It's okinvestors@gmail.com.
That's okinvestors@gmail.com. All right. Thanks, Luke. Have a great day.
Thanks, Steven.